All right, now let's talk about state management using the state hook. So over here, we're going to call the state hook to properly store our reminders in the app component. Now in React with TypeScript projects, this function is generic. So here we can type angle brackets and specify the type of object we want to store here. In this case, reminder array. Now let's use array destructuring and grab reminders with set reminders. Now let's hover our mouse over reminders and look at its type. So it can either be reminder array or undefined. The reason we see undefined here is because we haven't initialized this state variable. So you know that in JavaScript, when we call a function, if it don't supply any arguments, by default, undefined will be passed. So that's why the TypeScript compiler thinks this object is either a reminder array or undefined. To solve this problem, all we need to do is pass an empty array here. Now look, reminders can only be a reminder array, okay? Now, when using the state hook, we don't always have to supply a generic type argument. For example, if we call useState and initialize this with, let's say, a Boolean, true or false. Now, let's call this variable loading and set loading. Look at the type of loading. It's a Boolean. So in this case, we didn't have to explicitly supply this generic type argument, okay? So this is the proper way to manage the state of this component. And with this, we should remove this object from here and put it in this array. Well, technically, we don't need to do this. This is just for demonstration. I want to have at least one object in this array so we can see something on the screen, okay? So let's remove this object. Good. So now that we have state in this component, next we're going to talk about calling the backend to get a list of to-dos or reminders.